Okay, so I'm going to do, this is going to be like an overview video of where the project is at now and some plans for where to move forward and how to move forward and what I want to do, and then dreams, this the increasing the scope by quite a bit, adding more stuff and all the stuff that I would like to add, but we'll have to see how that all comes to pass. So the game where it's at now, the core gameplay loop is just gonna be like really like you're just gonna be filling out a fishing log. There's gonna be X amount of fish in the whole game, and for those of you who like to catch fish and fill out collections, that's kind of what's gonna be the appeal here. Is to catch all the fish. I'm making this because I played games like Animal Crossings and Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon and even RuneScape. To me, there's just an appeal to catch fish and catch a lot of fish and see numbers get bigger and fill out a fishing log. So I always wanted those games to go a little more in depth with the fishing systems. So I decided that that's what I wanted to do. That's the game that I wanted to make, is just a purely, strictly fishing game with RPG elements, because I really like games like Path of Exile and Diablo, and I like watching my character get stronger and messing with different skills and abilities and creating new skills and abilities, or new builds, essentially new character builds. So for that you need levels, you need skills, you need skill points, and you need items. So mashing those all together, I decided to make a game in that format, having been unsuccessful in finding a game like that to play. So the gameplay loop, and I'll just this is all super rough and everything, but eventually you have items and you can fish, so then you'll cast out. I also added here, you can see the fish have different colors on them, and that's going to be different like rarities of fish. So like in a game like Path of Exile or Diablo, enemies can be normal, magic, rare, or legendary, or unique, and I wanted something like that with the fish as well. So gold will be rare. If you see a purple, then that's ultra rare. So the fish will come and grab the lure, and then oh, I'm gonna lose him. No, I'm not. Okay. And then, so whatever, the fish battle will happen. All these values are incorrect, and the system is not finely tuned. But you will reel that fish in eventually, and if you're successful, then you will catch the fish. In this case, it was a spec, level 4, weight, EXP. So then this will get recorded in some type of fish log, and then over time, you'll have a record of how many of those fish you've caught, the highest rarity of those fish you've caught. Like so, the incentive is one to catch all the fish, catch a certain number of those fish. That'll maybe get you rewards or achievements or whatever. And then the highest weight of that fish that you can catch. There'll be ideally different fishing zones, and then you'll be trying to fill out that collection log and trying to go for the highest weight or whatever. I'll have to figure out why would you want to do any of this, and add incentives to do so. But that's basically the loop there. So why not just be on this in this one zone fishing all the time? Well, over time you can see here that you're going to use stamina to perform actions to fish. When you're fighting the fish, your character will run out of stamina, and you'll have like in Stardew Valley, you run out of stamina and then you have to go rest. So I want that, but I also want you to have to make a decision when it's efficient for you to go rest or regain your stamina or to continue fishing. So you have your stamina, right? So in this case, you have 69.7 out of 69.7, and then your max stamina is 70. So as you use stamina, as your stamina is not full, you lose stamina over time. So eventually, you can say it right here. So 70, as your stamina is not full, that's decreasing at a certain rate. It's slow, but I can adjust all these values. So eventually you're going to have, your bar is going to be like sitting here. So you can still catch fish, but you don't have as much stamina to pull from. And all of that's going to play a role into how you can catch fish, how you can use skills, your efficiency, blah, 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 how far out, like how big a fish you can catch reasonably without it breaking your line or escaping and all that crap. So that's going to be basically the fish battle system and the core gameplay loop. So the features that you'll have when you catch a fish and maybe quest or whatever, you're going to get EXP. So you'll get EXP, and then you can level up. And right now, these systems aren't fully fleshed out and working, but as you level up, you're going to get skill points. Right now, it just says available 99, but it's really infinite. You can just add whatever. So you're going to have an initial set of skills, probably just 2 skills, one to reel fast and one to like pull the fish, and that can interrupt the fish doing skills, and it will also pull the fish towards you and all that. So reel fast will use stamina over time. So stamina cost per second here is 10, and you'll be able to, with your skills, as you level up, you get skill points, and you can modify these skills, and you can also create new skills. So let's do new magic skill. So for your magic skill, you can have, and all of these can be adjusted, but let's say you want an effect, right? So an example of a magic skill would be, and I'm going to add mana, so you can use mana to, and these aren't in there yet, like I haven't, you'll be able to decide whether you want the magic skill to do. So say you want to cast an effect that will make the fish move slower, or build up, maybe drain his stamina, or cause its movements to be less erratic so you can, stay on top of the fish better, or maybe burn the fish, or stun the fish, or basically any RPG concept. If you imagine a battle in an RPG game as this fish battle, I really have the ability to add any of those components here to this fish battle. You're reeling and the fish has stamina and you have stamina, and you're trying to just fight the fish to you instead of reduce its HP. But if you do reduce its stamina, that will allow you to pull the fish towards you faster or better or something. So that's basically the concept there, and you'll be able to have skills here, and each skill point that you want to add, you'll be able to modify how that individual skill functions. For example, right now, this plus power, what it's going to do is it's going to increase, and this is your reel skill, so how you reel faster. So if you add power, it increases the reel speed and also increases the stamina cost per second. So say you pump that a lot and all of a sudden you don't really like how much the stamina costs, you can spend skill points into reducing just the stamina cost. So getting that back down to a manageable level. So alongside this, the real skill, these are your core options, your basic options, and I'll have another set of options here for, say you want this skill to, instead of only using stamina, maybe you want it to also use some mana as well. So that could be an additional option down here. Convert some stamina cost to mana cost first. Again, if you've played games like Path of Exile, or I'll just say Path of Exile, there's other games like it, but Path of Exile specifically goes really, really in depth with build customization and skill customization. So stealing a lot of dynamics from them, I feel like I'll have a lot of different cool things that I can add here. Maybe the longer you cast a skill, the longer you hold this button, maybe that will stack a debuff on the fish, or reel faster over time, or different things like that. And I've got a whole notepad written down somewhere with different ideas for how to modify skills. It's just going to be a matter of adding them in here. Same for this, right? Skills with duration or cooldowns, you'll be able to adjust those individually, and that will modify the cost of the skills, which you can also adjust individually. So it's going to basically, I wanted to allow the person playing to determine how they wanted to play. Do you want to play kind of passively and just really have to press one button and manage, kind of stay on top of how the fish is moving? Or do you want to make a lot of active decisions and play in a way that's efficient? And then, balancing all this stuff is a whole other thing that will just happen over time. And whether whether one thing is way better than another, or it makes more sense to just pump passive stuff and just mindlessly farm fish. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, and if it's way better than another thing, then oh well. But I want the options in there first, and everything that I've been doing up to this point is to lay the foundation for allowing these different ways to build your character and to play the game, and then worrying about balance and all that stuff is just going to be an afterthought, and we'll see how all that plays out. And maybe it's just going to flop and just be horrible, but I wanted to, at least, this is what I wanted to lay the foundation for. So you have these skills. They'll have different costs. Maybe they cost mana. In this case it does cost mana, but you actually don't have any mana right now. You'll catch fish. They'll give you EXP so you can level up, and you'll have items as well. So right now I just have a script here, or a block of code, a method to fill out my items, but you will over time find items and be able to craft items. Right now the crafting is just modifying the item, but I do want to allow you the ability to craft items, and the fish will drop different components. You'll get energy from the fish, and that will be your currency, essentially gold, and you'll use energy to craft, energy to buy stuff, energy to refine and create items. But the fish will drop items, like say a shark will drop a shark tooth, and that will allow you to make a shark tooth fishing pole, and that fishing pole will have access to certain stats or an implicit modifier specific to the shark tooth fishing pole, things like that. These are all huge scope, a lot of things that I don't know if I can do or manage or complete, but I just wanted to make a video here explaining what I wanted out of this game and what I'd like to see in it and what I'm moving towards. So the fish occasionally will drop maybe an old fishing rod or a lure or anything like that, pants, whatever, and that's how you can find gear that way, and you can craft gear, and maybe you can find crafting recipes in the world, or maybe as you level up and you increase your crafting bench level, it unlocks new recipes or things like that. There's a lot of different approaches you can take there. But you have your fishing pole here. It's a level 3 fishing pole. Maybe we can get a better one. Level 5. So now we have a level 5 fishing pole. So you have your fishing pole, and it is what it is. It's got 30 cast power, it's got 2 reel speed, and none of those right now are scaling with the level, but maybe they will. And on it, maybe you want to add increased cast power as an affix. So when you're crafting, the cast power is going to roll from 1 to 12 right now. As the item levels up, that will be greater. So a level 20 item, maybe it will be 1 to 20% cast power or something like that. So you can add it, and for 40 potential cost, each item has a potential. For 40 potential, you can add randomly between 1 and 12. Let's say you definitely want 12 on this, so for 480 potential, you can guarantee that you're going to roll a 12. So you got the 12 here, and now you only have 20 potential, and you cannot add any more to it. But let's say you're like, you know what, I want strength on here as well. Let me do cast power, and I'll do randomly, give me above 4. So I got a 6 roll on that. Okay, so you can re-roll that 6, and that 6 will never go down. It can only go up. So 20, you got a 7, 20, it rolled less than 7 or 7. So you're like, okay, 7, I'm going to stop there. And I also want dexterity on here. So 1 to 12, go ahead, add that. So I got a 2. Let me re-roll that. I got a 3. All right, now I want strength and intelligence and endurance. And now I have all of these on here, and I have 36 left, so I can re-roll one more thing. Let's re-roll. I got a 12 and 11. Wow. All right, let's re-roll dex. Okay. So all of these should say camp, but anyway, that's my item now. So my item has 7 cast power, 3 dex, 11 strength, 4 intelligence, and 12 endurance. And if I put that item on, all my stats adjust accordingly. Now, these stats don't actually do anything right now, but I do have them going up and down, and they are associated with the player, so I can change some code around and have them actually do things. So now I have a much better fishing rod here, and you can see you have your item and your equipment over here. You have a lure, you have line, maybe an amulet, a couple rings, whatever. I can add pretty much what I want over here, anything that I want. and that's going to affect how you fish and how you catch fish and your ability to do so. So now I have that better fishing rod on. I should be able to cast a little further. So I got a distance of 28, and so what happens? How do you not catch a fish? So over there on the right side, see if I can catch this. Okay, so over here is your hook set strength, right? So if this goes down to a minimum, why am I reeling so fast? If the hook set strength goes down to a minimum, the fish is just going to release the lure. You fail to maintain that. Okay, got away. That's interesting. I added those recently. So, and also your line can snap. So let's say your tension over there, which is on the left side, your tension goes all the way up, your line snaps. So that when your line snaps, you're going to lose the lure, and you're going to lose, I'm thinking like maybe your line, maybe you get a bundle of line or whatever it's called, and there's 500 feet or meters or units or whatever, and if it snaps 20 away, now you only have 480 worth of that line, or whatever. Now all of these things are going to have stats on them. So can I do this? No. Probably bricked it. There we go. So you can craft, and all these items, right, including lures, you're going to have the ability to get like a really cool lure, and you don't want, maybe you really don't want to lose that lure. So fishing will be a little more intense in that case, right? And maybe you've got a good set of lines, so you don't really want to be snapping your line all the time, and blah blah blah. So that's kind of just what I have in here right now. Player stats, level. When you level up here, your stats increase. Your items have different base stats on them, and I can play around with all that, and then you can craft different things on them as well. So intelligence on boots, blah blah blah. Now I've got 8 intelligence on my boots. When I equip them, I get that intelligence. So, and I can add whatever I want. I just added these to have something to play around with and test. But fishing hat and all that. So that's all what I have now. So what I want to add, and this is my first project, my first big project anyway. I've been toying with the idea of making a fishing game for like 5 or 6 years now, and I have a couple previous iterations of it in varying degrees of complexity, and by far this is the furthest I've ever taken this project. But things that I want in the future, and because like just a fishing game, maybe you could play for a couple hours if you really like collecting things and collecting logs. That's the type of person who's going to get, I think, the most number of hours out of this game. But just for your average player, maybe they don't really care about finishing the log, they just wanted to try the game out or whatever. Things that I want to add to be more appealing in general is boss battles. Like I really want to have like a boss fish battle at a certain location. Right now this is the only place that you're in here, but let's say for example, and this is a couple other scope creep features here, I'm calling them. Over here there'll be a door, and then that door is going to lead back to like the central town or whatever, and this will be called, let's say this is a fishing zone 1, and it's just a lake, and it's like the lowest level or whatever, so there's a certain amount of level of fish in here that you can catch, and when you can kind of out level this zone, so you'll be able to go to a new zone. So let's say you come out of here and you go back to the town hub and you go to fishing zone 2, and the levels there are a little better, and maybe a different diversity of fish, and maybe instead of a lake it's a pond or an ocean, or lava or ice water, or whatever, and different set of fish there to catch, and maybe higher levels or things like that. So as well as maybe one of these zones will be like a boss zone, and it'll be a named lake, like a Great Lake or Great Michigan Lake. What are the Great Lakes? Huron and Superior or whatever. Maybe it'd be Lake Superior in Lake Superior. Or what about the Loch Ness, right? Maybe one of the boss fish is the Loch Ness monster. Um, so it'll be the fishing zone will be Loch Ness, and you go out there and the fucking Loch Ness monster's in there, and you can hook him and try to battle him. And if you've got a good enough gear and high enough level, good enough skills, you'll be able to catch the Loch Ness monster, and he's got special drops and blah blah blah. That's all. I know so anybody who programs is looking at this and talking about like this guy's crazy. He's not gonna. This is way too much, and it's a lot. It's definitely been a lot, and it's harder and harder. Everything I add, it's harder to keep track of and get everything to work together. But I think that would be really cool is a boss battle fish. So you have your overworld there, and in your overworld, there'll be different fishing locations that you can travel to, and whether you actually move there or you just click a button and it teleports you there. One thing I did kind of want to add here is this first fishing zone here. Say the zone before this, it'll be like a little, not too crazy, not too intense, but a little platformer. So when you travel to this Lake 1, let's call it Lake 1, you're gonna have to do a little platform game to get here, and then I don't know about that. That's kind of like who am I appealing to at that point? Do people who fish want to do a platformer, or are people just gonna think it's like, oh, that's useless or whatever? But I think it would be kind of cool to like get better at that platformer so that you can travel to get to the fish locations faster. Because just teleporting home, you know, um, like I played Diablo 4, right? And in Diablo 4 or even in Path of Exile, it's when you go to a map and you kill these monsters and your inventory fills up and you just travel back home and then you sort that out real quick and then you travel right back to where you were, that portion kind of feels unrewarding. Like you get kind of better at managing those items and distributing those items and stuff. So that kind of like there's a semblance of I'm getting better at managing my items, at selling my items, at looking at items and determining if they're good or not. So this little platformer here would be like, okay, I'm out of stamina. Let me go back, and that's kind of why I want you to go back, is when you're out of stamina or you need to refresh, right? I want you to be able to be out here fishing as long as you want to, and as long as you have the stamina and the resources to do so. So in your inventory here, there'll also be, and what I want to is like, if you played RuneScape, if you go like on Zulrah runs or Barrows runs or any runs like that, you come with with an amount of resources in them to allow you to stay for a while before having to go back, because there is that travel time to it. You don't want to be wasting time traveling. You want to make your trips as most efficient. So other items that I want in the game is like stat boost potions, inventory buffs essentially, and maybe buffs to add to the water. So say you're really trying to catch one type of fish here, there'll be different ways to chum the water or to modify the water. You'll have items in your inventory that you can use, and you'll throw it into the water, and then that will increase the amount of fish who are bottom feeders, or increase the amount of fish who are predators, or fish will have different tags like that. So you're going to come out here with an inventory full of resources to use on your fishing trip, and you're trying to make the most efficient use of that fishing trip. So you're out of resources here, you're low on stamina, so now it's time to go back to the overworld and gear up again to go on another trip or to a different location or stuff like that. So you go back out, you go gear up again, and now when to come back here, you have to do a little platformer to get there. So that's just an idea that I have, and when I implement that, I'll be able to see if that's something that I like or that I feel like is I want in the game. But that was an idea that I had. So got the overworld, boss battles, pseudo platformer, fishing zones, player owned house. That would be really cool. That's definitely some fluff, some fluff material here that is way down the road. But the town center, I would like to have a town center with NPCs and shops, places where you can buy these inventory buffs, these potions, maybe buy equipment or lures, right? If you break all your lures and you can't craft them, maybe some guy will sell like a crappy one that you can use just to start catching fish again. Maybe the NPCs will have quests. I need to catch, 5 catfish or in a lake or whatever, and things like that, and that'll get you a reward. Um, and So your overworld, or maybe like your central town hub or whatever, there'll be ways maybe to, as you catch fish and you get energy, you can level up different things in the town. Your Walmart in your town, you can increase that, and that will increase the stocks of the shops in it and the NPCs in it, and or more items or better items and blah blah blah. So again, this is all not core stuff. What I really want to focus on is on the features that I have, and what I'm going to do today is figure out saving and loading. How do I want to save and load? What data do I need to refactor all my freaking data to get it to save and load correctly, or how am I going to do that? So that's what I'm going to focus on this weekend, is getting what I have here functional within a save load system, and then I can start looking at some more features here. But I also need to add the fishing log. I don't have the fishing log yet, but I don't think that'll be too cumbersome to add. Let me pause, and I want to see if there... Because there's should be a purple fish somewhere in here. The freaking cameras. The purple fish I made like 2% or something. But one time I was just there. Yes, there's one. So this guy right here. Yeah. So I was just like practicing, and I like hooked the purple fish, but I lost him. But already like actually fighting the fish when the values are more in line with what they will be. It's actually kind of fun, or for me anyway. And when I hooked that purple fish, when I saw that purple fish, like that was like, oh crap, like that's like a 2% or something. So already I can tell that some of these things just inherently work, right? We see them in other games, and people like that stuff. So I just have to copy and try to make it work in this game. But I think that's all I wanted to do just for the overview video. Obviously nothing in here is final. And I want the controller to work. So, and I want you to be able to play with the controller. And I don't want the game to be too complex. So basically you can just, and also I don't want you to, there's 200 fish in this zone here right now. So when I cast out, I'm no lure equipped, right? When I cast out, oh, it's bugged. Whoa, look at that. That's a cool one. When I cast out, I'm always catching a fish, basically, right, if I max cast. But in real life, if you've ever been fishing, there's a lot less catching and a lot more casting. So I want to have it so basically you're not going to catch a fish every time. You're not going to hook a fish every time. So, and I thought I fixed that. Oh well. Basically, you're going to cast out, and I don't want you to have to hold the button. Oh, and also this is still going. I got a couple different bugs. Line snapped. But I don't want you to have to hold the button. So maybe the reel will be a toggle. And different lures will have different affinities towards the top or the bottom. Top water or fish, and things like that. So I don't want you to have to hold a button to reel in. But I'm going to see how bad that is, because maybe if that's on a trigger button or something. Anyway, holding a button in games feels bad. It always does, especially when it's like primarily what you're doing is holding a button. Even a mouse button or anything like that, it just feels bad over time, and it's not something that you want to do. So I do want to work on figuring out how that's going to play a role. I think just a toggle will be fine. But also, if you do see a fish, be able to stop it, or maybe you always reel in. Maybe, I mean, it's not that's not too terrible of an idea. I don't need the actual reeling position or the reeling portion to be that involved, but maybe different lures just like to sit at different depths and will reel in roughly at that depth. So maybe when you cast out, you start reeling, and that just will happen, and and maybe a fish pops up, and you can't stop the reel. You're just always reeling or something like that. And maybe you catch that fish, or maybe the fish sees it, or maybe it doesn't, and you do it again. But a bunch of different stuff that I can play around with, and as I begin testing more and getting other people to test, I'll be able to tell what makes more sense in terms of the type of game that I want here. But then when the fish hooks, then you have to do the fishing mini game, and then you're battling the fish, and that's kind of more of an active participation situation. And when you catch that fish, I want it to feel like you've achieved something, right? Something small. It's not, you're not ending world hunger here or anything like that, but just that little hit of dopamine when you've successfully caught a fish. Maybe it was a purple fish and it was particularly difficult to catch, and you catch it. Like, that's what I want from this, right? In Animal Crossings, I fished a lot. I liked fishing, and it was so simple, and all you had to do was like press A at the right time, and the game kind of tricks you out, but you can just close your eyes and use the sound to do it. And it was like, it was fun to catch fish, but the actual catching of the fish was not rewarding or fun, or I didn't feel like it was, or I felt like it could have been more so. Sorry, my cat is chewing up my notebook. But I wanted more out of that, right? I liked catching the fish. I liked catching fish that I hadn't caught before, rare fish. There was that kind of tense moment of, oh, I hope I don't press A at the wrong time or on the wrong splash or whatever. So I want those elements here. I want that little bit of tension when you're hooking the fish, and then some tension while you're catching the fish. And maybe you don't know what kind of fish it is until you catch it, but maybe it's better if you do. And then you catch that fish, and it's a purple fish, and you haven't caught a purple fish of that. It's like a shiny or something. So those are the things that I'm after, right? So I wanted to just do a video, to have a video to kind of put out there what kind of game that I'm trying to make here, and just to have something. So what kind of game is it? And then I can you can watch this fucking 30-minute video if you want. I'll have a better explanation, a more short frame. I think just fishing RPG is the way I've been really describing it in short form. But this is just a more in-depth. What kind of game is it? What are you going for? And there it is. So all my rocks are floating now because I moved the ground down. But anyway, I guess I'll leave it there, and I'm going to be working on saving and loading a couple different tutorials I'd like to follow, and determine which one I'd like to use, and then implementing that, I'm sure, will be a rather involved process, because I haven't set any of my data up really in a way that can be saved and loaded. So anyway, okay, bye.